Yakadosh Boker Or, Masechet Menahot, Daf Yomi, Daf Memchet Amud Aleph 48a1, says the Gemara. We are talking about right now, Ve'ashar Nechalot Bepidyon. Okay? Basically, what we were talking about was, Tanu Rabbanan, we learned in the Braita, Shachat Shne Kevasim al Arba Chalot. If you do the Shechitav, the two Kvasim on four Chalot, so what you do is you just take two, you're going to wave them, and the rest you're going to redeem it. Okay? Amru Rabbanan Kamed Rav Chasta. So this is where we're starting today. They said this in front of Rav Chasta. Vehad de lo Rabbi. This is not like Rabbi. They eat Rabbi, but if you're going to tell me it's like Rabbi, Kevin Damar, once he said Shechita Mekadsha, the Shechita is going to be Mekadesh, and the Pariklehu Heicha. So where is it going to be Podeoto? So he says, if he's going to be Motziet Kulan, you're going to take everything outside of the Azara, right? Kevin Dichti, once it says Lifnei Hashem, if Silu Beotze, it becomes Pasul. I mean, you've got four, you have to redeem two. If you're going to take all four outside, you just disqualified all four because you took it outside, right? If Silehu Beotze comes Pasul when you take it out. So he says, Igavai, if you will redeem it on the inside, Hamail Chulin Azara. When you redeem it, then you just took in Chulin to the Azara. You're not allowed to take in something mundane to the Azara. You have four chalot here. You only need two. Where are you going to redeem it? Yeah, you only need two, but you have four. Now, if you're going to redeem it when it's inside, so you just took chulin into the azara. If you're going to redeem them when everything's outside, you just made it pasul. So how do you do it then? Samalu Rav Chasta says Rav Chasta, Leolam Kerebi, really we do pass like Rabbi, we go like Rabbi, it could be like him. Or Pariklu Gavai, and you do redeem it on the inside. The chulin mimela kavian, and it becomes, it's not that when you took it in, it wasn't chulin. But when you redeem it, now it becomes chulin. So that was okay. Meaning you're not allowed to bring chulin into the azara. But if it happens to become chulin, so then it's fine. So Amaleh Ravina Ravashi says Ravina to Ravashi Vatari, we learned right Keshu Podan and Podan Mechutz. Whenever you redeem it outside. So he says this is for sure like Rabbi Elazar Shimon he. Tei Rebbe Hayi Paslu Yotze, because if you're going to take it out, it becomes pasul, right? Because you took it outside. Amaleh Ravacha Bered Rava Ravashi says Ravacha Bered Rava Ravashi Lema Tevitufta de Rabbi Yochanan Miha. Why don't we just say that this is going to be a question against Rabbi Yochanan? The Itmar that was stated Todah Shechatal Shemonim Chalot. When you have a korban Todah that you slaughtered it on 80 Chalot, Chizkiah Amar Chizkiah comes and he says Kachu Arbaim Mitoch Shmonim. So now one more time, how many do you need for korban Todah? 40. How much did you bring? 80. So what's going on? This is the exact same case. The 2 and 4 and 40 and 80, Salam Shos, right? Same case. So he says, Chizki Amar, Kachu 40 mitoch shmonim, 40 become holy. Rabbi Yochanan Amar, Lo Kachu, no, they didn't become holy, right? But rather, nothing's holy, okay? So he says, V'lav ni'itman, didn't we say, Amar Rabbi Zara, Kol modim echad damal Kachu 40 mitoch shmonim, the Kacha, for sure the 40 should become holy. Hachanami, the same thing. The Kachu tarte mitoch arba, that should be 2 out of 4. Meaning the same halacha should apply over there with the 40 and 80, with the 2 and the 4. It's the same thing. Same proportion, same everything. So he says, Tani Rabbi Chanina tirata kamed Rabbi Yochanan, shachat arba'a kvasim al shte chalot. When you have the shchita of 4 kvasim on 2 chalot, moshech shnai me'en, you're going to pull 2 of them towards you. V'zorek daman shelo lishma, you're going to sprinkle the blood shelo lishma. She'imi ata omer kach, if you're not going to say that, hivsata et acharonim, right? You made lost the acharonim, the other ones. So Amalo Rabbi Yochanan says Rabbi Yochanan v'chi omer lo la'adam amod v'chata b'shil shetiske. Says what? Is it, you're going to tell a person sin in order that you should have the zechut? Meaning, if it's going to be a sur to do it shelo lishma, how could this kohen now come and do it, right? In order to come and to eat the 4 kvasim. But now we learned in the Mishnah, evrei chatat shnitarvu be'evrei olah. When you have the limbs of a chatat that gets mixed up with the evrei olah, Rabbi Eliezer omer yitunu lemala, just put it on the mizbeach. I look at the basar like it's wood. Meaning, one more time, the olah kulo kalil, everything has to be burnt. The chatat, ata amur le'echol, itbalbel, hitarev, right? You don't know what's what. So what do? Put everything up. Sorry. Thank you, right? You're not allowed to put it up there. The chatat, you have to eat it. He says, no, I look at the chatat as if kilu shezeh etzim. I look at it as if it's wood. It's like a fire. It's like a bonfire, right? It's like the wood. Chachamim omrim, tubar tzirutan. Wait until everything becomes ruined, and then you put it to the bet srifa. So am I why? Leima amod v'chata b'shil shetiske. Say the same halacha. Say, listen, there's a yisur of putting it on the mizbeach, but it's better that you should put it on the mizbeach and over the yisur in order that you should be zocheh, right? So why don't we say the same thing? Right, meaning that obviously we do not tell a person to do an avirah in order to get a mitzvah. So says the Gemara, Amod v'chata bechatat b'shil shetizke bechatat amninan. Amod v'chata bechatat b'shil shetizke be'ola lo amninan. If it's the same thing, we tell you to do it. Amod v'chatat, do an avera, right? In the chatat, in order to do a chatat, we're going to say, yes, do that. But if you're going to tell you to do that in order to be zochen anola, then we don't tell you to do that. Because it's a completely different korban. So that's what you're doing here. You have the chatat and olah that got mixed up. We come in and tell you, do an avera, which is bringing the chatat to the mizbeach, in order to be zoche in the olah. We don't tell you to do that. Because that's telling you to do an avera in a chatat to be zoche in an olah. זה אנחנו לא אומרים. We don't do that. Okay? So he comes down and he says, right? He comes and he says like this. He says, so he says, 1 second. If it's the same, then you do say it. Meaning, if it's a chatat and a chatat, you do say it. Or an olah, you do say it. V'atanya we learned. Kivsei atzeret. What happens if you have the kvasim of Shavuot? Kivsei atzeret. Sheshachtan shelo lishman. You did the shchita shelo lishma. Or shechita melifnei zmanan. Or ben lachaz zman. Or you did the shchita before or after the zman. Hadam yizarek. Sprinkle the blood. Habasar yachel. And you eat the meat. Now, if you're going to tell me if ma'ita Shabbat, if it's going to be Shabbat, lo yizrok, don't throw the dam on the mizbeach. V'im zarakna, if you did throw it, it's going to be hurtza. Right? What does that mean, hurtza? Hurtza milaktir emunin la'erev, that you're allowed to come and put the emunin after the Shabbat. Now, the question is, v'amai, why? Leima amod v'chata b'shul shetiskeh. Why don't you say, throw the blood on the Shabbat in order to be zocheh, right? That what? That the korban is not going to have to be burnt. Because now that you have to wait until Motzei Shabbat, now you have to burn the korban. So do an avera in order to be zochen, the same korban. We said before, we don't tell you to sin for a chatat to do an olah. But it's mashma from a chatat to a chatat. Yes, here it's a kivsei atzeret for kivsei atzeret. It should work. So says the Gemara, Amod v'chata b'Shabbat kedei shedizke b'Shabbat amninan. Amod v'chata b'Shabbat kedei shedizke b'chol lo amninan. If it was going to be that you have to sit on Shabbat and you're going to be zocheh on Shabbat, in Achanam, you're right. But here, we were telling you to sit on Shabbat in order to be zocheh for chol. Ze lo amninan. We don't say that. For after Shabbat, that we don't say. Uvetarte mile lo amar, so he says, 1 second. If it's going to be two different things, we don't say it. But now we have a Mishnah. Chavit shel truma shenishbera begat aliyona. Imagine right now you've got a barrel of wine, which is truma, that it breaks on the top of the barrels, of the top of the, the how do you call it? The cellar. Right? Uvetachtona chulin tmein. Now on the bottom one, it's chulin tmein. Modeh Rabbi Eliezer Rabbi Yeshua sheim yachol latzil mimena. If you could save even a revit betara yatzil, try to save it. Right? What does that mean? Because you want to try to get it with a kli tahor, you should try to save it instead of getting it ruined. V'im lav, now if you cannot save it, right? Rabbi Eliezer comes and he says, he says memchet amubet tered v'titma, go down, right? Tered truma inside the bor, and it's going to become tameh. But don't make it tameh with your hands. Rabbi Yeshua Omer, no, you can make it meaning like this. When it's going down naturally. You're not actually doing anything. So he comes and he says like this. He says, right, meaning like this. The wine is coming down. It's truma. When it goes all the way in the bottom, it's chulin tmiyah. So it's becoming tameh. But it's coming tameh on its own, meaning I'm not doing anything. It's just coming down. And once it gets into the pit, it's going to become tameh. So he comes down and he says like this. So Shane Hatam, it's different over there. Delutuma kazla. There it's going to become tameh. There's a big difference between the tum'ah and just stam, that because here there's no avera letameh ota biyado. That's what we're saying, right? There's no. It's just going to tum'ah. It's something different. So Kiata Rav Yitzchak Tani. So when Rav Yitzchak came, he taught, right? He comes and he says as follows. Kivsei atzeret sheshachtan shelo kemitzvatan. When you have kivsei atzeret that you do shchita shelo kemitzvatan, psulin, tubat tziratan, v'yetzu lebet hasrefa. He comes and he says, and they're going to go out to the bet hasrefa. Amar Rav Nachman, says Rav Nachman, morde makish lehu lechatatani psulin. Right? He comes and he says, that you're going to be makish, the kivsei chag shavuot, the korban chatat. He says it's going to be pasul. The gamar shalmei chova mishalmei nedava. But you're learning shalmei chova to shalmei nedava. Okay, v'tani kesherim, the tani levi, ushar, right, shalmen nizir, sheshachtan shelo k'mitzvatan. So he says, nechalin yom v'layla, ve'en tunin lo lechem v'lo zroa, and you don't need not lechem and not zroa. So Meitveis are going to ask a question, Asham ben shana, vevi ben shtaim. Imagine right now you have an Asham ben Shana. An Asham ben Shana means that it's within the year. And what happens is instead of that, you brought an Asham, which is ben Shtaim, right? Or the other way, Asham ben Shtaim, and you brought an Asham ben Shana. Psulin, it's going to be Pasul. Uteobar, Tzidotan, you have to wait until it becomes bad. And then it goes out to Bet Srifa. Aval, Olat Nazir ve'olat Yolev ve'olat Metzorah. But when you have these Olat Nazir, Korban Olah, Avanazir, Yoledet Metzorah, that there was going to be Ben Shtayim, Shte Shanim Shachtan, Ksherin, it's going to be kosher. Klalo Shel Davar. Kol kasher be'olat nedava, anything which is going to be kosher by olat nedava is going to be kasher be'olat chova. Right? That's the general rule. Whatever is kosher in olat nedava, olat nedava is a present. So it's going to be kosher in olat chova. V'chol pasul bechatat, anything which is pasul in a chatat is going to be pasul in an asham, except for shelo lishmo. You remember that we said that in the beginning of Zivachim, that the chatat and the korban pesach were the only two things that basically if you did it shelo lishma, it's going to be pasul. But here, the asham is going to be kosher. So that means the asham and the chatat are very similar, other than the lo lishma. Haitana Tana Levihu. So he comes and he says, this Tana is Tana Levi. Okay, Tashema. We're going to try to bring another proof. Okay, right? Tana Levi. Asham Nazir v'Asham Metzorah sheshachtan shelo lishman kesherim. When we have an Asham Nazir and Asham Metzorah that they did the shechita shelo lishman, it's going to be kosher. Velo alu leba'alim leshum chova, and it's not going to go to the ba'alim for chova. Shechatan mechusar zman beba'alim. If they do the shechita, why by mechusar zman by the ba'alim, or shayu b'nei shnei shtanim shachtan psulin, it's going to be pasul. V'im ita, now if you're going to tell me ligmar mishlamim, just learn it from the shlamim. So he says, Shlamim mishlamim gamar, Asham mishlamim logmar. You could only learn of Shlamim from another Shlamim, but not from the Asham to the Shlamim. The gamar, now if you're going to learn the Shlamim from Shlamim, ligmar nami Asham me'Asham. So he says, Asham Nazir, Asham Metzorah, me'Asham Gizulot, Asham Me'ilot. You're going to have the Asham Nazir, Asham Metzorah, from the Asham Gizulot, Asham Me'ilot. And Asham Gizulot, Asham Me'ilot, you're going to learn it from the Asham Nazir, Asham Metzorah. Meaning, just like the Asham Gizulot and Asham Me'ilot are going to be kosher in the second year, so to the Asham Nazir, Asham Metzorah should be kosher in the second year. Or do you go the other way around? Just like the Asham Nazir, Asham Metzorah is going to be kosher in the first year, so to the Asham Gizulot, Asham Me'ilot should be kosher in the first year. Meaning, how old does the animal have to be? Kesheta mevi ta Asham. So there's four Ashams that we learned here. Asham Nazir, Metzorah, Gizulot, Me'ilot. Okay, and two of them, it's kosher first year, two of them kosher second year. So the question is, what do you learn from what? Do you learn the 2 years from the one or the one from the two? That's what we're asking. Okay, so he says, Amar Rav Shimi Barashi, Tanin davar shelo be'echshero, midvar shelo be'echshero, v'nin davar shelo be'echshero, midvar she'echshero. He comes and he says like this: we're going to learn something which was done something which is not done properly from something which is not done properly, and we're not going to learn something which is not done properly to something which was done properly. Which means when Levi came in, he said that shalmen dava, right, is from the korban shalmen nazir, right, that it was brought shelo lishma in the second year is going to be kosher. That's something which is shelo karaui. So therefore, it's going to be from something else that's learning from shelo karaui, which is basically korban shalmen dava, which is shelo lishma in the second year. But that's already b'diavad. But lechatchila, for sure, you have to bring it in the first year. So therefore, that's why you can't say that you're going to learn it from there. Meaning, I'm always going to learn things lechatchila with lechatchila, not something which was done b'diavad. Something which is done b'diavad, I can't learn from it. You understand? So it says velo. V'atanya, we learned in a braita. Minay liyotzeh she'im ala lo yared. How do you know that if right now something went out, right outside of the azara, that if it went up to the mizbeach, it shouldn't come out? So he says sharei yotzeh kasher bebama. It's going to be kosher on bama lechatchila, right, b'diavad. And it's going to be the lechatchila like the b'diavad. So answers the Gemara, Tana azot Torah ta'olah riba samichle. What does that mean? The Tana is actually learning, right, from the fact when it says zot Torah ta'olah, that it's coming to include anything that goes up to the mizbeach, that it doesn't come down. That's what it means. Zot Torah ta'olah, anything shole, anything that goes up, it doesn't come down. But really, be'emet, we cannot learn it from everything else.